All right, so MAI is coming out tomorrow, and really funny, I was literally thinking, I think yesterday or the day before, I forgot when I was talking about MAI in the Discord, but I was like, I would really like MAI to come out on Global because I want to make some videos on her. And I was like, holy shit. This morning, I check, she's coming tomorrow. I'm like, wait, when the fuck did I forget that was happening? So MAI is coming out tomorrow, and I wanted to talk about her because her kit is actually pretty nice. And I think for maybe low spenders, or if you get lucky, she is a really good pickup for either. I would say she does need a certain type of unit to work properly that we are going to discuss. But I would definitely say that for free-to-plays, she is not the most worth. But let's say if you do get her, right? Let's say you do a couple summons. Is she a story event? I think she is. But hold on. Let's check the event. So we got, first of all, Teen Ghetto. I'm going to come back to MAI, but we got Teen Ghetto. He's a skip. All right, I don't really give a fuck what you say. He's a skip. He doesn't have extra standard units, right? It doesn't have it. So keep that in mind. Definitely a skip in my opinion, especially for free-to-plays. But if you're already like a spender, well, I feel like you would have already gotten him. If you want to do daily pulls as a pay-to-win, then, you know, go ahead. I just don't think now's the best time unless you have a lot of money, because of the fact that, well, guess what? In a month, we are going to be having Domain Gojo. We're going to be having Zonji. We are going to be having Green Megumi in April. We're going to be having Sukuna right after, and then we hop into Shibuya. So I feel like saving for that part of the game is better than summoning for someone like this. Now we have a map event. Unfortunately, is there going to be tickets? Yeah. So you're going to have 10 tickets for MAI. If you get lucky, be happy. All right. So 2910 cubes, about as usual. I think sometimes it fluctuates to 2990, but I could be wrong. Now, let me know what you guys think. But one thing I really want from map events is for the score event, or the like score challenge, to be a ranking reward event, right? So essentially, the more damage you do, like, it's the same as the co-op event in Powerful Enemy, but single player. And essentially, the higher damage, obviously, the higher you rank. And I think this is the freest way to give content without giving content, to force people to get higher scores for a challenge, for a reward, for a purpose. So I would say this is the biggest thing they could do for the game, in my opinion. It's something I'm going to be preaching again and again, is for the fact of bringing ranking rewards to map events, even if it's very small, even if it's just AP, right? Even if it's for a frame, for a title. They're bringing frames on JP for icons, I think. So they could easily do that for something like this, for a ranking event for this. So that's something I really hope they do in the future. And then the rec bits we're going to talk about after. We got Powerful Enemy, which is that another 10? No, it's standard tickets, of course. Why would it? Man, it could have been. It could have been. That's unfortunate. Whatever. So we got MAI, but I do really quickly want to check the rec bits. So this is the gacha one, right? So this is increasing own damage for red, pretty mid because it's low amount of damage, and it gives CE 15, it's mid. All right, now the free-to-play one is damage reduction up to 25%, but single target, and then heals. So no, this is not a good one because this is only you also. So neither are really going to be that good, unless for some reason you don't have a healing rec bit, right? But, you know, definitely get this just in case. But, you know, I don't think gacha rec bit wise, meh, right? Meh. It's whatever. So let's get into it. Now then, MAI is a debuffer, essentially. She's a debuffer, and a very good one at that. Now, the thing is, you need a very specific type of units to work with her. What do I mean by that? You need supports who attack, or debuffers, I guess, right? So that would be either Degumi, Blue Ghetto, Yellow Yaga. Does Shoko attack? No, it's not Shoko. So Yaga, Ghetto, Degumi, Gaku Ganji, Green Ghetto, and Blue Inumaki, right? All these units, and I guess Domain Gojo, right? I guess, are all units that MAI works well with. Now let's go into why. All right, so her kit is actually very complex. I'm going to try to break it down. Essentially, every single skill that you use is going to change her bullet type. So she has, if we go, there's special ammo and enhanced ammo, and I think there's another one. Is there? No, there's only those two. So depending on which bullet type you have on, it's going to change what is going to happen in the passive. Now we're going to get into the skills first and then go into the passive. So skill 1, Range damage, all right. If special ammo is active, you have a 10% chance to delay the enemy's action, all right. So essentially, I actually, if I'm being honest, I do not use this that much, but in my head, it's always just stunning them, right? So it delays it to the next turn. Now, it's not stunning, so I'm pretty sure the exact action they would have taken this turn is happening next turn. Now, if there's enhanced ammo, it increases all enemies' damage received by 20%, so it's an AoE attack. Now, the skill 2 is going to be a just delay, 20% delay chance. And if you have special or enhanced ammo state active, right, it's going to increase follow-up rate, by 280%, right? So you're going to have up to another 40% of increased follow attack rate, which is exactly what her passive is about, which we're going to get into. Now, it deactivates own special ammo or enhanced ammo state to re-give special ammo for 3 turns, all right? So that one's all right, but the one we care about is this, where it's going to increase all enemies' damage received by 30%, all right? Which might not seem like much, but hold on. And then it's going to also increase own follow-up rate to 80%, 2 turns 3 times, all right? Which is definitely pretty good. Now, the alt is giving 80% for 3 turns, and that increases own follow-up rate to 100%. For 2 turns. Base 6 times is the most you could do it because she cannot follow up on her own attack. So essentially, the max you could do it is 6 times, right? Now then, over here, you'll see. We're going to go into the kit a bit more in depth after, but when an ally targets an enemy with a command or alt, right, deal 60% taijutsu damage to the ally selected enemy, 40% chance. If the ally targets multiple enemies, a random enemy will be hit. I wish it was the enemy you selected on your target. Like, let's say it's an AoE attack, but you have on your cursor the middle one and you click on him, it should be that one, in my opinion. Now, if special ammo is active, you delay the enemy's action, 20% chance. But if enhanced ammo state is active, you increase all enemies' damage received by 30% for 2 turns. Now, why is this big? Now, by the way, she's going to want to be the first attacker, so she's going to want to be the one in front. And hopefully there's no buffers, right? That's basically it. So remember, her alt increases follow attack rate to 100%, 6 times, which is the max you could do it. So essentially, if you, for example, let's say, right, you have MAI and it's mono yellow. Okay, so you have MAI, Degumi, Yaga, and I mean, Tinjo, Zonji, right? Zonji, I guess, would work better, right? Zonji, in this case, would work better, right? Because he just attacks. So, leading up to Zonji's ult, or the turns after, right? You use it on Zonji's turn, Mai's ult, or the turn before, right? You have that team. Well, essentially, for every attack, right? So, MAI, Degumi, and Yaga, right? For Degumi, Yaga, and Zonji, all of them, because it's 100% for 6 times, you know what that means? That's going to mean you're getting 90% in 1 turn, right? But then if Zonji does 2 skills, that's up to 120% in a turn. Now remember, that's 90 or 120 alongside the 30% from the turn before, right? Where is it? My bad, here. 30% from the turn before, and on the alt, that's another 80%. So in total, let's say you alt, right? Like, the first thing is the alt, right? You're going to alt, you're the first person, and then the other 3 are all going to increase it. So the first turn when you alt, that's going to be a 170% damage increase. And then the turn after is going to be at least, because remember, Zonji does 2 attacks. So it's going to be at least another 90%. Or sorry, not 90, 110. So in total, she could give up to 280% damage increase for 2 turns, right? I think it could go even to 310 if you get lucky, but like, that's how much she's giving. So you really have to time it well. But if you want to use her with Zonji and you plan on getting Zonji, well, I think maybe picking up MAI is not a bad idea for the team I just described, which, let me reiterate, the team would be Degumi, Yellow Yaga, MAI, and Zonji. That's the team. They all attack. So you're always going to be able to get the follow-ups. Even if it's 2 turns, look how high it was, right? 2 turns, but guess what? Boom. You got 270% or like 250, whatever it was, right? Over 200% from 1 unit, right? And she's not really doing too much. So honestly, like, I think her kit is really good. I'm probably going to make a showcase revolving around Mai, and I think it could actually be pretty fun. Now, when own HP is 50% or below, she gets conceal status to self 4 times, which I believe is just she cannot be targeted by single target attacks. Correct me if I'm wrong down below, and I will pin it unless I pin something else, but yeah. Now, I would definitely say that for free-to-plays and shit, she's not really that good, because either way, you're not summoning for Zone G, but still. It's definitely a good unit. Unfortunately, she will not work with MAI as well, because MAI has buffs that she used before she ults. So MAI, it's going to be a loss of 60% or 30% damage, right? 30% damage. So it is what it is on that. But definitely for Zone G, Mai is fucking exceptional. So in terms of which units Mai works with, Sukuna, because she always attacks. Well, actually, you have to keep in mind 2 things. There's actually 2 parts to this, right? So essentially, it's the DPS. Do they attack? So that would leave Sukuna, Yuta, Toji, Megumi, right? Ghetto, I think Ghetto should go in S tier now, but, you know, I digress. Green, Yuji, Maki, right? Muta, right? And obviously Zonji, right? But then it's also which supports can combine with them. So yellow, you are set because you have Degumi, you have Yaga, right? And then you could also use just Mai, right? Obviously. Now for red, it's a bit more tricky because if you see here, this is a support that doesn't attack, right? Remember, if you're buffing but you're not attacking, it does not count for the follow-up. So you wouldn't be able to use someone like Yaga, and then you would have to stack almost more damage increase than you should use. But, you know, I digress on that point. So it's like, okay, maybe you'd have to use someone like Gakuganji. So then it's like Mai, Gakuganji, and then you could use Degumi, right? So you could do something like that for any of the supports, right? But then it's more so what I'm thinking of is something like in Tower, when you're from floor 51 to 60, running type disadvantage could get you killed, especially for an SR like Gakuganji, but also for sweep, type disadvantage does get a bit risky. But I just want to give an example. You could use Mai, Degumi, and also Gakuganji, and you'd be safe. So all these different options, but definitely Mai, like the amount of support she could give is very similar in the best cases to Degumi and Domain Gojo in terms of the damage support, which is insane. I'm going to leave off with that. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching this video. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.